When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. Life is too short for long-term grudges. If something's important enough, you should try, even if the probable outcome is failure. I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right. If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. I would like to die on Mars. Just not on impact. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. People should pursue what they're passionate about. That will make them happier than pretty much anything else. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. It is important that people look forward to coming to work in the morning and enjoy working. Great companies are built on great products. I think you should always bear in mind that entropy is not on your side. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. We're already cyborgs. Your phone and your computer are extensions of you, but the interface is through finger movements or speech, which are very slow. I think it matters whether someone has a good heart. I will never be happy without having someone. Going to sleep alone kills me. Any product that needs a manual to work is broken. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. But brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. Really, the only thing that makes sense is to strive for greater collective enlightenment. Rockets are cool. There's no getting around that. Self-driving cars are the natural extension of active safety and obviously something we should do. There's a silly notion that failure is not an option at NASA. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. When Henry Ford made cheap, reliable cars, people said, "Nah, what's wrong with a horse?" That was a huge bet he made, and it worked. I think life on Earth must be about more than just solving problems. It's got to be something inspiring, even if it is vicarious. When I was in college, I wanted to be involved in things that would change the world. I say something, and then it usually happens. Maybe not on schedule, but it usually happens. A company is a group organized to create a product or service, and it is only as good as its people and how excited they are about creating. I do want to recognize a ton of super talented people. I just happen to be the face of the companies. If humanity doesn't land on Mars in my lifetime, I would be very disappointed. I don't create companies for the sake of creating companies, but to get things done. Starting a business is not for everyone. Starting a business, I'd say, number one is have a high pain threshold. Tesla is here to stay and keep fighting for the electric car revolution. The factory is the machine that builds the machine. It's very important to like the people you work with. Otherwise, your job is going to be quite miserable. I think we are at the dawn of a new era in commercial space exploration. I do love email. Wherever possible, I try to communicate asynchronously. I'm really good at email. I'm anti-tax, but I'm pro-carbon tax. I don't spend my time pontificating about high-concept things. I spend my time solving engineering and manufacturing problems. The value of beauty and inspiration is very much underrated, no question. But I want to be clear, I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. I'm just trying to think about the future and not be sad. I think we have a duty to maintain the light of consciousness to make sure it continues into the future. I'm interested in things that change the world or that affect the future, and wondrous, new technology where you see it, and you're like, wow, how did that even happen? How is that possible? When I was a child, there's one thing I said: I never want to be alone. That's what I would say. I don't want to be alone. It is theoretically possible to warp space-time itself, so you're not actually moving faster than the speed of light, but it's actually space that's moving. I wouldn't say I have a lack of fear. In fact, I'd like my fear emotion to be less because it's very distracting and fries my nervous system. On one of the SpaceX flights, we had a secret payload, a wheel of cheese. We flew to orbit and brought it back, so it was the world's first space cheese. It was, in part, a tribute to Monty Python. The path to the CEO's office should not be through the CFO's office, and it should not be through the marketing department. It needs to be through engineering and design.